Hey guys, PrestoneMage here. Recording a Corset M20 or Corset 2020 sealed video. My goal is to just kind of give you guys an example of building a sealed deck with this particular set. I've already done it with this card pool, so I'm going to just try to recreate that process to show you guys how I do it, and I've learned how to do it through people basically who are a lot better than me at doing it. Some pros, some non-pros, and such. Anyway, so here's my 6 rares. So I took a hard look at these ones, and then I dove into the uncommons and commons, which is generally what you're going to want to do, because it'll kind of let you know if you want to go hard into a color or not. But the uncommons and commons will tell you if you're allowed to even go into those colors. Anyway, so brought back is that 1 rare. Choose up to 2 target permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped. So kind of cool, like rebuy a couple things. It is white. Dungeon Geist 3/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Dungeon Geist. So it's like a permanent freeze, and it's just a good body. 4 mana 3/3 flyer. A good card. Masterful Replication. 6 mana instant. Choose 1. You get 2 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens, or choose target artifact you control. Each other artifact you control becomes a copy of that artifact until end of turn. So I don't know how much the second ability will be relevant in limited, but the first one's kind of cool. So it's just basically like a 6 mana flash in 2 3/3s. It's pretty good. Rotting Regisaur, 3 mana 7/6. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card. So I was thinking that this might be good in a deck that wants to play out its hand, or you can just play it as like a late game, like after you've cast the majority of your spells, like a late game card to just have an undercosted threat. And that way, in the late game, if you're like empty-handed or something, you're basically not discarding. It's just like a plain 7/6, and then you play basically whatever you draw. This thing, Chandra's Regulator. I don't know why it's not getting bigger. There it goes. It's good for like I'll read it. So whenever you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. And then it's a second ability, 1 tap discard a mountain, or a red card to draw a card. So in limited, unless you have a Chandra, you're not going to be able to use that first main ability. But the bottom part, the pay 1 and tap discard a mountain, a red card, is valuable if you want that effect, to be able to kind of toss cards that aren't that valuable for looking for new ones or something like that. So kind of limited card, and then kind of limited in its usefulness. Okay, and then there's a Leyline. If Leyline of Combustion is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Whenever you and or at least one permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. So basically it makes it to where, like, if they target you or any of your guys, they'd take 2. So not really good and limited, because it might just sit there, and your opponent might just play creatures that are just attacking into you or whatever, and this card is just not really good at combating that. Like if you play, like, let's say a 4 mana 4/3 or something, like that might be better against them playing their creatures, versus this that just sits on the battlefield, not really affecting it that much. Anyway, okay, so like I said, the rares are cool, but they're only just a glimpse of what you can do with your deck. So there's chances when you can't even play some of these, or many of them. So let's look into the uncommons and commons and go from there. So let me actually go like this. Okay. Again, I've learned from people over the years that were a lot better than me, pros included, non-pros, just really good limited players. And one of the things that they do is kind of look at each color individually. Like in real life, when you crack your 6 packs or whatever, you're just rifling through those packs to kind of put, or it's a good idea to just kind of rifle through those cards and just make individual piles of each color. And then you could, if you want, if you know the format, if you know the cards, subdivide each color into like playable cards. That's what my friend Alan Mai does. I don't know if he does it right away or he kind of separates them and then subdivides them. But I've already looked at some of these cards, and I'm not going to go through them again, but I kind of just would pull out maybe like what I thought was playable when I was deck building. So like kind of stuff like this. The first time around, like I said, this is my second time building it, but I just want to show you guys kind of what I did. Maybe kind of pull out cards that I thought were playable, and I said like one of those maybe, and I'm not sure about that. And just right away I noticed that like my white is really weak. I only have like just right off the top maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 cards that I'd consider like playable, which isn't that high. And if you consider that in a deck of 40 cards, a limited deck, you're gonna have 23 like cards. So when I'm looking at like 8 that are like kind of like okay, average kind of cards, that's not really a strong consideration to play that color. Now, yeah, so like I kind of eliminated white as like a kind of a playable color, but like I'll leave out what I considered the playable cards. So I went through some of these cards. I pulled out maybe 1 unsummon. Don't really want too many bounce effects because it's not really like permanent removal. Card draw, an effective 2/1, an effective 2 draw, maybe like 1 negate, a trick, essentially divination, and then kind of like a bomb. I don't know how good a card like this will be in the format, and it's a 4-drop. You don't want to have too many, and this color already had a couple 4-drops that I'd consider playable. Like already just in blue, that's 3 4-drops here. This rare, and then kind of like those are more what I consider playable, like the subdivision. Like this is the whole color, right? Including Fairy Miscreant, the other unsummon, the other negate. Aether Gust is like a sideboard card in that. So this is like my subdivided pile of blue. Black, I kind of went like maybe one of those. Maybe one of those if I got like a sack type theme, because I could recur it. Murder, removals. Removal is excellent, guys. So even if a color isn't that good, sometimes you'll play it if it has a lot of kind of cards and removal. Like it's almost one of the just most crucial parts of a limited deck is having removal spells. So if a color has like ways to get rid of creatures, then that color is really valuable, even if the creature quality isn't that good. Anyway, so we'll keep going through our black, and then this guy's pretty cool. Throw some of your cards in your graveyard like a soft mill thing. This guy was good. We talked about Soul Salvage, essentially draw 2. It's good. Another removal spell, like I said, removal is just crucial. It's like a Lightning Helix, deal 3. This card was cool. It looked good on paper. 3/3 that can make a 2/2. We have 2 of those, so we'll add that to our pile. playables. This guy can be good, but you want to be able to trigger it a lot. So life gain triggers. This one was kind of disappointing. I thought it was a 5-mana 3/3 that dealt damage to creatures, but it only gets opponents or planeswalkers. So I kind of not as high on that one. And then we kind of just keep subdividing. Like again, when I first went through this, I kind of read a lot of these cards, but okay, more removal. But now that I've done that, I can kind of go like, I can go, what's valuable, what's playable. Let's pull those into my pile of playables. But like I said, that I've already gone through it, so I'm able to quickly pull out cards that I consider good or playable. And that's kind of what you'll develop over playing limited for a while, is that you'll kind of think, oh, what's a decent playable card? And then once you get into that format further, then you kind of get more format specific about what's good in that format. Okay, so said, yeah, he gives one of those. It's kind of like a sideboard card and that Unchained Berserker. That one wasn't that good. This one's pretty sweet. And we saw that as being kind of sweet. Again, I'm just kind of adding kind of these, making piles of what I consider playable for the colors. I've gone through this already, so I'm going to look at these in more detail after I kind of pull them from the cards that I'm not going to consider playable. I don't mean always unplayable, but just in general. So these are good 4-mana 4/3s. These equipment, these artifact equipment things are pretty good. A couple of spiders. Usually I'll go like 1. That's good. 7-drop that makes a bunch of 2/2s. And then some dual lands that you can consider them, but I don't know. I'll get there. And then these gold cards are pretty playable, but we're going to leave them out because they kind of could go. They go in specific color pairs, so we're not there yet. They could make me want to play a color combination, but I mean, like, I got one Dimir card, one Izzet card, one Boros card, one Selesnya card. So you aren't basically going to build a deck to support one of those because it's only one card. If you happen to be in those colors like Dimir, then of course you'll play that. Izzet, yes, you'll play that. But since it's just a single card, you're not going to try to build around that. It's just awesome if you are in that color combination and can play those. Then yeah, or if you have maybe a dual land, let's say you're black-white, and you have, you're blue-black, and you have, you're black-white, and then you have like a dual land that taps for blue. Maybe you want to splash, something like that. But they are valuable if you're in those colors. And then as far as this stuff, again, playables, unplayables. That was kind of what I considered playable. Same with that. And then this too, maybe. Alright, cool. So now we've kind of like filtered, if you will, through our cards, pulled out some of the better ones. Just right away, you can look at, what we have a lot of. We've got a lot of green cards, some blue cards. White's kind of out of the picture, so I'm just going to eliminate white right now. Just doesn't have the support that we need. Again, I'm a little biased here because I did this earlier, so I had harder looks at things. And then I think Ben Stark at a GP many years ago, like he would I watched him, I learned from him a little bit. He said that you can kind of build various decks in various color combinations, and also look at like the curve while doing that. So if I'm gonna say like, let me look at green blue, maybe I'm gonna make a curve and go, okay, well I got my 1-drop, 2-drop piles here. I'm gonna put my non-creature spells in a separate pile. I'm gonna look at my curve. Non-creature spell, kind of like a trick there. Recursion spell, decent 4-drops, decent 5-drops. I'm gonna have to scoot over a little bit here. Wherever it went. So right away, I mean, green has just a lot going on for it. Let me put that in the 4-drop since it's like a creature. It's got kind of various creatures throughout the curve and like some kind of powerful non-creature spells. Anyway, so if I want to, let's say see how it looks with blue. We go, okay, I'm gonna put my 4-drops here. My 6-drop, those are like, I'm gonna consider that as a creature because it kind of just flashes in. I'll just put it right here for now. Two bodies, another 4-drop, draw 2, combat trick, counter, 2-drop, 2-drop, and yeah. Okay, so if I were to go blue-green, and then maybe adding, you know, an artifact or something, it would look something like that. 4 2-drops, a 1-drop, a couple 3s, a ton of 4-drops, which isn't very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of want like 3, 4 around that range, give or take like 1. 1 5-drop. I mean, it's okay, I guess. Probably want to take out one of those. You do something like that. Removal, you got like an unsummon, which isn't really removal, Rabid Bite. That's it. So you just go like a removal spell. So it's okay. And then Dungeon Geist, I guess. So we got 1, 2, again you're looking for 23, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 22, like 23 cards. So that'd be a deck, but it lacks removal and the curve is kind of heavy around 4. So yeah, that's like an option. So hold on, I'm a little all over the place. I'll put, again, I kind of know how this is going to end up, so I'm going to move the blue out. I liked green. It had a good curve. It had a removal spell. So I'm going to remove the blue and see how like maybe red looks. Oops. Sorry guys, hang on. Again, I'm kind of just trying to see like what color combinations are best. So let me just get rid of this blue. And just as far as like sheer cards, you got like how many blue cards? Oops, there's one more. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Decent. So again, we're playing that around 23 spells or cards. And you know, this is already a little bit over halfway, so it's one of our most solid or deep colors. So when you hear the word like deep, you're talking about effectively like quantity plus quality. How many good cards do you have in a certain color? So you want to look at color depth. Green is a deep color. It's got creatures on pretty much each part of the curve, and it's got some removal and valuable non-creature spells. So maybe, and then I can just go on, preparing other colors and stuff, but just looking at it, let's say green and red, it's like, okay, what am I playing blue and red, what would I play that for? Oh, there's a couple of removal spells in shock, maybe like a win condition right here, these two, Dungeon Geist or something like that. Maybe you can then go into what we talked about, like those gold cards. It's like, oh, well, maybe you got this thing now if you go in there. But just to save time, I'm just gonna show you the configuration that I ended up with. So I really liked green, and then I looked at black, and I noticed that I had removal, a couple removal spells. This thing, Agonizing Siphon, 3 damage. Any target, murder, instant, destroy anything. And then I had kind of like a bomb. So I put that together. I ended up just going with these 2 color combinations. Okay, they fit well. And what the deck was to kind of fill the weaknesses, basically. Like this. 3-drop over here. 3-drop over here. And then I think I ended up refusing to put that one in there. And then I had something like this. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 non-creature spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 creature spells. And then I put this in there because there's a lot of duplicates, like double bone clad, necromancer, and this tutors for a card if you have a similar one or the same one in play. Anyway, so I ended up with something like that. So it kind of hit basically everything. I had creatures at just about every point in the curve. We had removal spells and tricks. Some good just non-creature spells. Yeah, I didn't end up playing those, so just with these black and green cards we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 22, 23, 23 cards. So that's just about the deck I had. Card or 2 off. But yeah, so that's kind of how you build a sealed deck. You just kind of filter through each color, kind of pulling out the cards that are good or playable, and then comparing them kind of to other colors, and also kind of combining them with other colors to kind of see which color pair or pairings help you have the best curve, allow you to play bombs, allow you to play removal. So in some altogether this deck, it's got removal, check. It's got some bombs, it's got this 7-drop. It's got creatures on basically every point of the curve. It's a little weak at the 2-drop with only 2 creatures when you probably want 4. But I do have a ramp spell, and it is sealed, which is generally a little slower than draft. So you don't maybe need to play as many 2-drops right away. And then I just kind of go bigger, so I can just throw stuff on the board as soon as I get there. And actually I ended up running 18 lands because of that. Generally you'll want to run 17. So anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions with kind of limited or sealed deck building, comment if you'd like. And yeah, that's about it. So real quick, maybe we'll just do a finished product here. As far as the land, sorry I forgot the mana base thing. In real life, people are actually going to have to figure out their mana base, whereas on Arena it does it for you. So we ended up playing like something like that. It's 23. Just lands. That. And then I ended up cutting. What did I cut? Was it that? I'm trying to think I ended up cutting something like that to run another land. 18 lands, and then more forests than swamps. Usually when people run 17 lands, they'll do something, and their colors are about the same of the amount. They'll do something like 9, 8, so that's 17. 9 lands of one color, 8 lands of another, with the 9 lands going towards the color that they have the most of. But if I got like a 10-8 for one, I'm running an extra land, but I'm also skewed towards running more green, because when I make a color count, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 green cards, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black cards. So I've got about double, and also early on in the game I've got a double green here and a double green there. So even if I was running 16 lands, I might want to do something like 10-7. So, and that's that 18 lands is the personal preference. Again, I kind of have a 7-drop, a few 5 drops, and then a handful of 4 drops. So yeah, I mean, it might even be better to run some other cheap card too for that last card, but again, that's like a little deck building detail you'll kind of learn throughout the event. Kind of maybe what you should have done differently, but in between, you know, games you can do sideboarding and stuff, and that's a whole nother topic altogether. But it's good to be aware of kind of the colors you have, and then what you can maybe sideboard into, mostly by looking at like kind of power and toughness and stuff like that. How, you know, you can alter your deck to be better suited against fighting an opponent's deck. So maybe it might, this on, you know, looking at this again, it might be better to run 17 lands and maybe throw an extra 3-drop in there, just because we don't have many 2-drops. We don't have many playable 2-drops. So maybe something like that will be okay. Alright guys, again, let me know what you guys think. Thanks a lot. Take care.